The art and science of fundraising. Raising a pre-seed round of investment for your startup is 80% art and at most 20% science. The science is the pitch deck, the financial model, the forecasts that you've built, and as well as the addressable market that you're tackling. But at the end of the day, when an investor is investing in a pre-seed round, they're investing in you, the founder and the founding team. That's what they care about. That's what you've got to work on. And that's what you've got to put at the front and center of what you're building. Yes, the science, the numbers is what gets you in the door, but the storytelling is what sells it. The second you secure that first meeting, the deck goes out the window. Really, at the pre-seed stage, the deck is more of a tick box exercise. It's more just a mark to say, you know what you're doing. This is how you think about it. This is how you're thinking about the growth. But the second an investor meets you, it's all about you. So you've got to really work on yourself, your confidence, your storytelling, your vision, your narrative, all of the things that when an investor speaks to you, they're going to say, yes, take my money. I'm going to put my money with you rather than the hundreds of other founders that are out there. Exceptional founders know how to stand out. And at the pre-seed level, it's not going to be the numbers in the deck or the science. It's going to be the art. Investors are busy people. So you're going to want to create a pre-send deck, something which is, 2-3 pages, which investors can share with other people in their network and that you're really happy to get shared around. Something which really closely focuses on who you are as a team, what you're trying to build, and what you're about. The main deck that you have should be 12, 15 slides max and focus on these key 5 areas. Firstly, the founding team. Next, the value prop. Key metrics, traction so far. This one is really, really key. And then finally, your ask. How much are you trying to raise and why? Over the last 12 years, I've developed this amazing framework that helps founders get into the mindset of investors at the different stages and the things that they care about. At the pre-seed, the way you want to think about it and the way investors think about it is number 1, team. Number 2, revenue. Number 3, data. At the seed stage, that becomes number 1, revenue. Number 2, team. Number 3, data. And then finally, when you're getting into an institutional investment environment, Series A and beyond, it's going to be number 1, data, number 2, revenue, and number 3, team. So what does this all mean? At the pre-seed level, team is number 1. Everything else comes after that. They care about who are the people executing this plan. Because guess what? The plan's going to change, but the people don't. As an investor myself and every other investor will tell you, you would rather the A team with a B plan than the B team with an A plan. The plan will change, the people won't. Seed stage. Revenue is going to be number 1. You should be able to sell that product without it even existing. This is testing your ability to go to market, your ability to find partners, distribution, and in the age of AI, it's not costing millions of dollars anymore to get a product out there. You should be able to monetize from day one. It's what the best teams do, and it's what investors want to see at the early stage, at that seed level. That's not to say you're going to be making millions of dollars yet by any means, but it shows your ability to monetize in your space, understand your customer base, and understand what they're going to pay for. And then when you're getting into the institutional environment, raising that Series A, the big money that you've been thinking about, it's all about data. At the end of the day, when you're trying to raise venture capital, that's when you're going to scale in a big way. That's when you're ready to take over the world. So if you haven't got the data that's going to inform the way that you scale, no investor is going to back it easily. That's not to say it won't happen, but for most people who don't have these networks, who aren't ex-Google, ex-OpenAI, if you don't have that unfair advantage, for everyone else, the way to do this is show how you think about that data, show how you keep it, show how you think about the way that you're going to scale. The science of fundraising, financial model, valuation, market size. These 3 things are going to change. You don't know your business yet. You're a pre-seed company still figuring things out. So why does science matter? The science matters because investors want to see how you think about the most important parts of your business. The difference between success and failure, life and death in the startup world is the hyper focus on the core metrics. If you don't even know what those core metrics are, how are you going to hyper focus on making sure that you're moving them month on month and growing them? The science is all about showing investors how you think about the business and how you're going to measure it moving forward. The art of fundraising. This is the bit that if you have it, you've got all the chances in the world. And if you don't have it, this is the thing you've got to change. To the point where I'll even say to you, if you don't have the art side of being a founder, you should find a co-founder who does. This is not about ego. Ego is the enemy in this game. Know what you're really, really good at and know what you're not as good at and where you need a bit more strength to really help you flesh out your team and go to the next stage. You can be an amazing technologist, and that's so important. But if you're not able to sell your vision, if you're not able to sell that art, it doesn't matter. The tree falling in the woods with no one around, does it make a sound? Who knows? But what I can tell you is if you're a founder without that ability to tell a story, you're not going to get very far. And investors know this, because if you can't sell an incredibly wealthy person to put a very small part of their capital into your vision, how are you going to convince some of the smartest, brightest young talent in the world to come and join you on your vision, to give you some of the best years of their life? It's not going to happen, and they know it. There is part of this art that you can work on and can develop in a more quantifiable way. And that's really your founder market fit. These are the things that when an investor sees, oh, I see why this person is doing this thing, that's something which is going to give them a lot more comfort and conviction. If you look at my story, I built a business for content creation within the worlds of sports and gaming. But my story with Connectd actually comes from that time after selling that business, where I started to invest in startups and work with startups in a fractional way. Now, I was only working with startups in that way for 1 year before I started Connectd. So I don't have this incredible domain expertise. I never worked in banking. My family didn't come from that world. It's not a case of having all the knowledge. It's a case of being able to tell a story that inspires people and says, oh, I see why this person is doing